now on AM Extra, an Oregon woman dedicated to building housing and dignity is getting national recognition and scoring funds.
Yeah, WeBUILT Housing provides long-term homes for people with disabilities while building connection, life skills, personal freedom, and more. They're one of 8 to earn a $20,000 grant from the Royal Neighbors of America. And here to talk about how that money is supporting their mission is Director of WeBUILT Community and President of its parent organization, Next Step Strategies, Ann Wilkinson. Good morning, Ann. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations, first and foremost, on this grant. This is really cool, but more importantly, I love that it is also helping to just shine light on the work that you're doing here. Very important work. What inspired you to start WeBUILT?
Well, I had a son who didn't fit into any of the typical housing opportunities for people with a disability as they age.
Yeah.
He wasn't able to do a group home, so we thought, well, let's build something. We thought maybe there would be 5 little houses and some house parents, and then it just grew and grew and grew, and there were more and more and more people who needed it. So the grant lets us now write the step-by-step for other parents or other moms to be able to create a community that will work for their son or daughter.
Yeah, to be
well.
able to replicate this model in other communities.
We have hundreds of people waiting in the wait list. So
I bet.
Other people need a step-by-step to be able to get started on their project.
I think that's so fantastic to see a need, and instead of, complain or, just feel bad about it, you filled that need and really inspired other people to be able to take action there. So dive into the mission and the kind of work that you provide.
Well, I think the biggest thing is that it creates a social community for individuals who, they were living in a regular apartment building somewhere. They might not work at the same times as other people. They might not ever see or talk to anybody else. It might be days before somebody comes to see them or to talk to them or to take them to do something. So creating the social component to the community. My son is not a huge social need. He's kind of a good third. So he likes to watch, he likes to do what other people are doing, but he's not going to be that person who can just give back to somebody else. So just having a roommate or having 2 roommates, in a house, he would have just been just the watcher the whole time. And now he can lead on the levels that he does. He can see, he's really big on managing the garbage and the recycling and making sure that windows are clean and things that are important to him are done.
Yeah.
And are helpful then for the other people who live there.
And so how is this situation different from traditional group homes? And what kind of space are you providing for these adults who still want to live independently?
Yeah, so everyone has their individual home. And it's pretty much built to their specifications. So. It's about 600 square feet. They have their own washer and dryer, so they don't have to go to the laundromat. It has a little kitchen. We also have a big party barn and a chef who creates a meal every day for them, so they have a place to come. We have activities and activity coordinators who make sure that there's social things to do at the level that they're able to manage.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting these calls from other families who want something like this. What is one of the major needs that you're hearing from them?
I think they just need the how-to book.
Yeah.
I think they have some people who will help them. They have a builder. They have somebody else that they're interested that can help them and other families. And so it's just getting, I seem like I spend a lot of time just explaining and explaining and explaining. And so to be able to have something that they can take away and then can add to specific to theirs. So you don't have to build 35 houses, you can build 20 houses or 10 houses or 5 houses.
Right, or even just thinking about some of the things that might be unique to this build that a commercial builder might not think about because it's not a common, situation that comes up for them. Just that awareness is so important. How life-changing is this, not just for an individual who gets to have their own home, but for their family to know that they are set up in a living situation that will be successful for them?
Yeah. I think that we value our residents by customizing their home. So if it's Hello Kitty, or it's pink polka dots, or it's trains, and you want to have a dining car and a sleeping car in your home, then that's that. And so I think when parents come back and they see, we totally get their kid. He's in his happy place, she's in her happy place, and there's really, it's better than when they go home at Christmas, they're like, okay, I'm ready to go home.
Yeah.
They're just there for a very short time and they're ready to go home, and it really does feel like home.
That's
Wow.
fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on the grant, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, and if you'd like to learn more about WeBUILT Next Step strategies and how you can get in on the ground floor of changing lives, check out this story right now on coin.com.